Okay, we're recording. Baruch Hashem. Okay, we're on Chaf Gimel Amid Beis. Chaf Gimel Amid Beis. We're going through the various chumras that Kachim has over Truma, and one of them was that if the Kachim is in a Kli, it's mitzarif, it'll go ahead and combine everything in the Kli. If, however, it's Truma, then it won't combine. So let's say you have like five pieces of Truma. So if it touches one, so that'll be Tameh. Let's say a Rishon touched it, that'll be a Sheni. Then that'll touch the next one, it'll be a Shlishi, and it's stop right there. Whereas Kachim, as soon as you touch one of the pieces, the whole Kli combines together to be considered one piece. And therefore it will be, the Gemara's Havamin is that it's a pasuk in the Torah, and it seems to be that there's an opinion that it's the Rabbanan, as we'll see. So that's the Gemara. Says the Gemara, we're on Chav Gimel, but 2 dots, about 8 lines up. Hakli mitzaref mashe b'tzeicha l'kaidesh. The Kli combines whatever's inside of it, then in Kaidesh. Avalei l'truma, but not l'truma. Minani mili. How do you know that a Kli is mitzaref by Kachim? Some of Chonan, Dama Kra, the pasuk says, again, the Pasha of the Nesiim, Kafachas asar zahav malaya kataris. The word achas is extra, guys. So just say kaf asar zahav. What do you mean kaf achas? It's a cost of asul l'chol mashe b'kaf achas. The word achas to tell you is that the spoon makes everything in it. Now the spoon has a receptacle area. A spoon is not, it has a receptacle area, and therefore it's going to go ahead and combine everything that's to be as one. Master Rav Kahana, Hoysef Rabbi Akiva. Again, we're asking, you say it's the Raisa, I'm going to question that point. Hoysef Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva added, these are other things that the Reisha, Rabbi Shimon said, Eifachatas, anything, if you touch one of it, it goes ahead and the whole thing is Tameh. Rabbi Akiva is adding on to Rabbi Shimon's statement. Said Rabbi Akiva by Eifachatas, if you touch one part of it, the whole thing is Tameh. So Rabbi Akiva added on the following materials. Hasoiles, flour. Ketairis, you know what ketairis is? That's burnt every day on the mizbeach, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Lavoina, that's put on, frankincense that was put on top of the carbon menachos. V'hagecholim, and stones and coals. The kasha, where's the hachshara for a non-edible item? And the chibas kodesh. Tosis brings chibas kodesh, is Rashi says. Chibas kodesh is what is. Let's make it the chavivus of kachim is machshur l'b'kabel toma. Now, shem nogat full yoim b'miktsasai. If it's full yoim touches either the soiles or the ketairis or levoin and the gecholim, plus less kula, it passes the whole thing. It passes the whole thing. Now you have to say, v'had the rabbanan he. You have to say that this is rabbinical in nature. You know why? Mimai miditani reisha hey Reb Shimon ben Beseira alei for chatas shenoga hatame b'miktsasai shetimi eskulai v'katani chaysev Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was meisif. If you go to the pasuk, guys, kafachas me'katayris, we're speaking only about something that is kachim, that goes on the mizbeach, something that's kachim. How would you know truma? How would you know anything else? You wouldn't know anything else. So therefore, obviously, the pasuk of the Raisa would limit you to what? To kachim. So obviously, all these things that mechatas must be the rabbanon, soilus must be the rabbanon, ketayres levoina, and consequently, gecholim, they're all the rabbanon. So therefore, it's a kasha. How could you, Reb Chanan, say that it's the Raisa? We have Hanoyim, Rabbi Akiva saying it's what? It's the rabbanon. And for the Gemara, Reish Lakish Mishum Bakapara says Reish Lakish name of Bakapara Chaftal V'Namin Aleph. Leinitzrucha elo l'shiyori minachas, for shiyori mincha. Okay, guys, outside. The carbon mincha was performed the following way: you would bring a bunch of flour. You would say that this should be a carbon mincha. You would bring it to the Beis Hamikdash. The kohen will put it in a kli shares. What the kli shares does, literally a service vessel. What the kli shares does, it infuses this flour in kachei haguf. In other words, until now it had kedushas damim. It had value. It was kodesh for its value. But now, by going in and putting in this kli, it gets kedushas haguf. Therefore, it can get psalina if you leave it out overnight and nicer. The kohen then would go ahead and take his fingers, go inside. He would do like this with everything that's found in his palm. He would go like this and this. He'd put that in another kli. That's called kmitza. And then we take that kli, bring it over, and be makrif on the mizbeach. What's left over is considered shiyore mincha, the leftover the mincha, because the mincha in fact is the kaimetz that was burnt on the mizbeach. What's left over is called shiari mincha. That shiari mincha now goes to the kayin, and it doesn't need a kli. There's no special din of a kli. So when Rabbi Akiva said ketayra, it said soilus, you know what he was speaking about? He wasn't speaking about that goes on the mizbeach. That goes on the mizbeach, in fact, is the raisa. What he was discussing was the shiari mincha that went to the kohen. That even though it's not the raisa, the Rabbanan came along and said if a piece of a tumah touches part of it, the kli is mitzvah for all of it. And that's what the Gemara says right now. The raisa, the tzarech kli, something that needs a kli, the raisa, like the kamitza, a kli mitzvah. The kli goes ahead and combines anything contained within it as one entity. Shein tzarech kli, but something that does not need a kli, in this case, the silas of the shiari mincha, the leftover the mincha that goes to the kayin, ain't kli mitzarfai. The kli midaraisa does not combine it to make it one entity. The asra rabbanon came along the chachamim because and they made the following zera. The afagav ain't it tzarech the kli, even though what this does not need the kli because there's no purpose in it. The kli mitzarfai, the kli is mitzaref. Okay, that's a very good teretz. So right now we have that would explain. It would explain the kamitza. It would explain the soiles. But Rabbi Akiva said three other things. Rabbi Akiva said levina, he said ketairis, and he said gecholim. There's no extras over there. It says matenach soiles ketairis levina mayekol meima. What are you going to say by ketairis and levina? Are you going to say that is the Rabbana? So Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabbi Ravua, Kigoin, Shetzorbin al gabe kartabala. What happens is you put it on a flat surface. You took a flat piece of ore. It does not have a base kibble. It does not have an area that is to contain it. And here's the chiddush. The chiddush by the cholim. The chiddush by this is the teretz now. The chiddush. What's the chiddush? The raisa yeshlei toich mitzaref. The raisa, something that has a toich, meaning it has a receptacle area, an area that is hollowed out to receive something, that combines. That's the pasuk that was discussing Rav Chanan. Ein le toich, but something that does not have a base kibble, it doesn't have a receptacle area, it's a flat surface, ein a mitzaref. So therefore, you wouldn't combine anything on this katabala, this leather, flat piece of leather, nothing would be combined. The Yasser Rabbanon came along the Chachamim v'tiknu, the afagav, the ein le toich, that even though it doesn't have a receptacle area, mitzaref, it goes ahead and it would combine all together. That's so therefore we answered it up. Einachinami. The raisa, anything with a base kibble would be mitzaref. Rabbi Akiva's chidushim were all in what? That it wasn't a flat area. It wasn't a base kibble. It was only a flat area. That the chum goes there as well. Upligid Rav Chanan ad Rav Chia bar Abba, and Rav Chanan who said that this din of a kli being mitzaref is the raisa, and the source was kafachas from the Nesiim. He argues on Rav Chia bar Abba. Dam Rav Chia bar Abba, Am Rav Yechanan, me'idusay shel Rabbi Akiva, from the Edis, the testimony of Rabbi Akiva in Masechta Yedias, Mishnah Zu. We learned this Mishnah. That our Mishnah that says that the area is considered all as one. That was learned in Masechta Idias, which is obviously the Rabbanon. So you have to say Reb Chia bar Abba that the pasuk is only what? The pasuk is a asmachta ba'alma. The pasuk is only an asmachta. So dealing with again in one of the chumras of kachim over truma, that it's makabel. We have machloikis amoraim, whether it's a din deraisa or din derabbanan. We said that one of the chumras is that in the hierarchy of truma, by truma it ends by the level of 3. By kachim it extends to the level of 4. Now we discussed this quite a few times. When it says pasol or paisol, it means it stops there. When it says tamei, it goes one more madrega. When pasol means it stops there, tamei it goes one more madrega. The Gemara wants to know minayin l'revi b'kodesh pasol. How do you know that there's a din of a revi? How do you know that by kodesh it passes? It doesn't go farther than a revi, but it even goes up to the level of revi. The Gemara will bring a kal v'chaymer. V'dinhu, it's a kal v'chaymer. Umam mechusar kippurim. Someone, a zav, a zava, a yoledes, a mitzora, people who, in order to eat kachim, they have to bring karbanis. They're considered mechusar kippurim. They're missing their kapara. They're missing their carbon. Umam mechusar kippurim shemute b'truma. They could eat truma, but nonetheless, if they would touch kachim, pasul b'kaidesh, they would pasul b'kaidesh. So you see that mechusar kippurim is lenient by truma, is lenient by truma, but it's chomer by kodesh. Shlishi she'pasel b'truma, a shlishi that is more stringent by truma because it does pasel by truma. Ein edin sheyas reveal a kodesh. So another madach mechus kippurim, which is lenient. You have a chomer by truma. You have a stringency by what? By kachim. So kodesh, but shlishi, the tumah of shlishi, which is stringent by kodesh, because it goes to the level of 3, so it's more stringent than a mechus kippurim. Ein edin is not a kal v'chomer that it should make a reveal a kodesh. It should make the level of revi. Now v'lamad l'shlish l'kodesh min ha'Torah. Now we need a revi, guys. So how are you going to get the revi? V'lamad l'shlish l'kodesh min ha'Torah. Revi b'kal v'chomer. Shlish l'kodesh min ha'Torah minayim d'chsiv v'habasa asher yiga b'chol tamei. This is speaking about a carbon shlamim, and it says the meat asher yiga that touches b'chol tamei, anything that's tamei lo yochal, you can't eat it. Now kol tamei can mean even a sheni. It says sheni. Mila askin dinaga b'sheni come right. The Torah is speaking about a sheni. V'ka amar, and it says rachmana lo yochal, and it says you can eat it. So we've established why can't you eat it? Because it's tamei. So now I know revi. I know shlishi by kodesh. How do you know revi by kodesh? Revi mikal v'chayim hadam aron. I know revi from the kal v'chayim from mechus kippurim. Okay, nachamo. Madach chipusim mechus kippurim, which is lenient by truma, is shver to make. It can make a shlishi. So shlishi, which can make by truma, anything that can make a revi. So how do I know shlishi by kachim is tamei? I have a pasuk. Now that I have the pasuk, I apply the kal v'chayim to go out to level of 4. Okay. The next piece of Gemara, I need siyata d'shmaya from the shir. For some reason, I just didn't get the Gemara. We said truma in nitma one hand, the other hand's not. You know what you're holding in the other hand is not. On the other hand, excuse the pun, but on the Mash'enke Kodesh, what's one hand is one hand's the other one. In other words, truma, if one hand becomes it's chaves still tahar, but by Kodesh, you have to put both in the mikvah because one is matama, the other one's tamei. So again, let's get this straight. If this is tamei, this is tahar. By kachim, I have to put them both in the mikvah because if this is tamei, they're both tamei. Good. Now let's look at my hands, guys. I really need a third hand, but make believe my head is the hand. So this hand is tamei, this hand is tahar, and this is kachim. Good. So this is called chiburim. Right now. This is the kodesh is mechuba to the tumah through a hand that's tahar, tamei, tahar, kodesh. Good. That's no good. Masha'en came by truma. If this was truma, then tamei, tahar, truma would be good. That's called chiburim. Says the Gemara. Truma nima amrav shizvi b'chiburim shanu. When do we learn this din? That by what? By truma, yes. By kachim, not. That's nafka b'chiburin, where you had the connection as I just illustrated. Aval shaloi b'chiburin, if they're not connected, loy, says Rashi. Avaloi b'chi, the first wide line. Shala'acha shepirshim min ha'tohira, if you separate it from tohira, chazra tohira v'naga b'kaidesh tahar. Guys, watch. This b'chiburin. Watch. Look at my hands. Look at the picture. This is tamei. This is tahar. This is kaidesh. So this would make it tamei. Let's say I do this. I disc like this. This touches here. Now it goes off over here, and now it goes like this. It will be tahar. That's what you want to say. So dafka over here is a tamei. But if I do this, it will be tahar. That's what it says. Esive abaya eslam of shizvi yad neguva. If you have a dry hand, if your hand is dry, meaning it didn't have a mashkin on it. To be machshir it, mitama chave rasa, it's mitama, its other hand, l'tami l'kodesh, to make kodesh a shlishi. Again, l'tami means to pass it on, guys. So l'tami l'kodesh to make it a shlishi. Avaloi l'truma, but it would not be mitama truma to make it to be mitama truma. In other words, the Rabbi truma is not even a sheni. Divrei Rabbi. These are the words of Rabbi. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, lifso. It can make the kodesh into a revi, avaloi l'tamei, but can't make it into a shlishi. If you're going to tell me b'shlei b'chiburin, the hand is tamei, hayin revusa de neguva. That's the chiddush on neguva. Now, this is the part where I don't get. My revus in the group. If you're going to tell me that it's tummy only when it's connected, when it's not connected, what's the chiddush of the guva? So let's see Rashi over here. Maybe the siyata d'shmaya of the share will help me out. Says the Gemara. Says Rashi. Now, we said the tummy has the kodesh lashas revi to make it a revi. Revi has to be noimer chavirasa peiselis as a kodesh, but meaning would make it what or revi avoloi mitama would not make it what tummy. Bishleim, you're going to tell me. Bishleim, you're going to tell me. The Chiddush is speaking where they weren't connected. In other words, that the one hand just touched my head. Dimitama, that what? That it's Tameh. Haina Revusa Dinaguva. That's the Chiddush of Naguva. So guys, watch, look. Bishleim, if you tell me like this, my hand is Tameh, it's touching my tahar, that it's going to be Tameh. It's going to, I mean, like this. I guess, once it touches over here and touches over here, it's going to be Tameh. Hain revusa the neguva. The afagav the neguvahi, even though the hand was dry, kishinaga bezu, when it touched the tahar the hand, vein lachush shema naga hayad hatohira b'mashkin shemitama shem rishonim, and there's no reason to believe that the tameh took a hand, touched the mashkin to make it a rishon. To be mitama, the other hand, the chala paislas at truma. Anything that makes truma a shlishi, mitama mashkin liyas techila will make a wet into a rishon. That's to the rabbanon. And now the tahar hand becomes tameh as a sheni because of the tahar hand. Afilu hachim mitama is not this tameh. The mile the rabbanon he sheyad mitama es chavei rasa. The one can mitama the other. Liyasa shniya k'maisel l'kaidesh. He can make a sheni. Can make a sheni. Eli amid lo yamrinon ela bechiburin the time mishum dilma naga tameh l'kaidesh. My revusa the neguva. But the yad k'maisel mitama l'kaidesh b'lei mashkin alei shniyahi. Okay, I got it, guys. Thank you. Watch, guys. Look, guys. Look at me. Look at me. We said the chiddush like this. Bishleim, if you're going to tell me that this is the chiddush that like this, so here's the chiddush in the guva that afal gav, even though when this touched this, it was dry, and there's no svar to say that this is tameh. Nonetheless, we'll say it's tameh. But if you're going to tell me that this is tahar, and the whole chiddush is this, if the chiddush is this, why do you care? What's the chiddush over here? I'm scared that this hand's going to touch the kachim. So who cares if this touches the kachim? We don't care if it's dry or it's wet. It's going to go ahead and be metamet. So it doesn't make a difference. That's the Gemara's tax. Okay, very good. Says the Gemara Vaita. Itmenami Amreish Lakish says Rish Lakish Leishanu Amid Beis Ela Yadai. When what's going to be metama? Only his hands, but his fellows' hands, right? About Yad Chaver Loy. Rabbi Yochanan says Echad Yadai, whether it's own hand, Echad Chaver, whether his friend's hand touched him, right? Boisa Yad. It would have Harihim Tameos, right? But it has to be that he touched the hands that was initially Tameh. But if it touches the friend touches the second hand that was Tahar, then it won't be Metamet. So it says the Gemara. Machal says Reish Lakish, if your friend's hand came in Metamet, you Rabbi Yochanan says Achas Yodai v'Achas Chavei, right? But it has a joined up. When does your friend Metamet you? Boisa Yad lifso. The hand that was Tameh lifso. Go ahead, one Avoid the Tameh. It goes ahead to the level to make it can passel, but not to metame. It can make it a revi by kachim. It can't make it shlishi. Mimai, how do you know that it can make it only that or revi? Miditani and Mashashaninu Sefer. The Sefer says shiyad mitamei chavera. So the kodesh avoid the truma. The yad from mitama its friend for kodesh not for truma. The Mishnah said hasulamali. You already told me. You told me you stick no hatanale reisha. You said in the reisha that you're sticking both hands in the mikvah, that's matarit. So what is, if you're going to tell me it doesn't passel, there's no chiddush over here. Elolav, shmamino, when you repeated the case, it must be lesuye yad chavei, to teach me that don't say that only your own hand can be matama you, but even your friend's hand can be matama you. One more time, guys. Rabbi Yochanan says that not only can your hand be matama by kachim, that your friend's hand can be matama you as well. How do I know that? Because there's two statements. It says the hand that's matama, it's chaver, for kodesh, but not for truma. But it says that both hands have to go in the mikvah. When you told me both hands have to go in the mikvah, I know one hand can mitama the other. Guys, this hand is tummy, right? This hand's tahar. I got to put them both in the mikvah. Why? Because they can mitama each other. Ella, when you said that, so once you said they both have to go in the mikvah, why do you have to tell me that that one hand's mitama the other by kodesh? It must be that it's not your hand. It must be it's your friend's hand. So after the Beirish Lakish who said it's not your friend's hand, only your hands, he had charata. The Amar Rabbi Yaina said Rabbi Yaina, Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Reish Lakish, Echad Yodai Vechad Yad Chaveron, whether it's your hand or it's your friend's hand. Here it says openly your friend's hand. Boy say Yad Lifso. That the hand that's tamei to passel, avaloy tamei, but not the level of tamei. Says the Gemara, v'lifso avaloy tamei tanayu. Whether the hand that it's tamei can passel or can make the level of revi or make it a shlishi, that reflects the machlokes tanoim. The tan kol poisel b'truma. Anything that makes truma tamei, it's a sheni, so it can make truma shlishi. Mitami yadayim liyashniya. So my sheni can make another sheni. Again, anything that can passel truma, meaning it's a sheni because it passels, which is a shlishi. Good. And that's a scenario. If it touches another, it can make something a linear. It can go across the board. It can make a sheni. Yod mitama chaverasa. And that case, one hand can be mitama the other. Dear Rabbi Yeshua, as Rabbi Yeshua says, it can make a sheni like itself. The Chacham Meimrim yadayim shniyas hein. The yadayim shniyas ain't sheni is a sheni, but a sheni cannot go ahead and make another sheni. Now the Gemara wants to know when the Chacham said ain't sheni can make a sheni. What do they mean? Lav sheni hu d'lo yavid. It can't make a sheni, a shlishi of it, but it could make a shlishi. So therefore, that's machlokes. Rabbi Yeshua says make a sheni, it can be mitama. The Chacham say no, it can't be mitama. It can only make a shlishi. It can passel. Says no, you have no raya. Dilmaloi sheni of it, shlishi. Maybe it's not a 2 or a 3. Maybe the das chum is that what it doesn't. It's not mitama at all. So therefore, you have no raya. That's machlokes tanoim. Again, you wanted to suggest the machlokes whether what the hand that passes the other makes it a sheni that has capacity to be mitama or a shlishi that passes. That seems to be machlokes. Where it says you have no raya. Elki hai Tanya. We have a raya from this following Tanya. Mitame eschavrasa. It said yad neguva, a yad that's dry can be mitame its friend. Right? We're going to see a Mishnah Bryce later on. A yad that's neguva can be mitame its friend to make it a sheni. The tami b'kodesh to make the kodesh a shlishi. Avaloi l'truma, but it can't go ahead what and make mitame truma to make it a sheni. Divrei Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Aimer, right? Oisa yad, the one that was tame initially can be mitame somebody else, and that can make what that a shlishi lifts up to make kodesh revi. Avaloi l'tama. So there you have your machlokes. According to the first time it's mitama. According to the second one, it passes. Okay, let's go. Let's leave that sugya very quickly because obviously I didn't know it very well. We said that what that you can eat dried hands, guys, with dry hands that are dirty. We said that in other words, I can eat truma with my hand that didn't go to the mikvah. I didn't wash my hands, but I can't do it by kachim. Tanya, I'm niggas. Guys, there's no such thing as neguva l'kodesh. Pirish, guys, watch. If this is a piece of kachim, let's say. I don't need it to get wet in order for me to go ahead and be metamet. The fact that it's kodesh, chibas kodesh is metamet. Just like we introduced in the shir gacholim, the coals chibas kodesh is magdish. So too over here, this fact that it's kodesh, it's mushal gabel tuma. Fred the Gemara on your whole mitzias of the case. What did you say? You can eat truma with dry hands, but not kodesh. And what's the chumrah? Ostensibly, the chumrah is that in neither scenario you had what. You had meguvos by kachim. It's not shayat lashon musuavos. It's not shayat lashon of musuavos. It's not shayat lashon of vis-a-vis kachim as having negufa because there's no negufa. It's all muksher. It's all prepared. Says the Gemara. Tanya. Amrab Chanina ben Atignis. V'chiyesh negufa l'kodesh. Is this din of negufa b'kodesh? This is like right. It was not muksher. The chibas hakodesh machshatoi. The chibas the highest esteem that we hold kachim in. That automatically is machshir. So what does the Gemara mean? It says, he took the kachim and he stuck it in his mouth. Or he himself put it in his mouth, the kachim, bikoish, with type of spindle, or bikarka, some type of use that was used for a loom. You know, it was the basic thing that he didn't touch it. And now, bikesh lechot, he wants to eat, right, with dirty hands, either a radish, snain, ubatzal, or onion, shalchulin imahim. So that's the chiddush, guys. Watch. Look, if it's directly to the kachim, you're right. I got the kachim with my mouth without a problem. I got it in my, I'm in a problem. Now my hands are dirty, and I say, this basa needs a little something. So I want to go ahead, take chulin of an onion or the like, pick it up. My hands again, my hands are I didn't wash, and I want to put it in my mouth. You can't do that because why? Because I'm worried that I may touch the kachim in my mouth. Mashenkin, if it was truma that was in my mouth, I would be able to do it. That's the difference. Says the Gemara, he wants to eat either a radish or an onion with it. So the kodesh goes with rabbanan. The guys of the rabbanan that maybe why his hands are not clean, may come to touch the kachim in his mouth. But the truma like goes with rabbanan. By truma we're not geyser. The final din of the 11 was the onion mechusah kippurim. They needed tefillah before they eat kachim. My time, what's the reason they needed tefillah before they eat kachim? Kivan the ada idna haviasiri, since they were also to eat kachim until this point in time. Rabbanan tefillah, rabbanan require tefillah. Okay, I wish everyone a good tavach. Got to drive my mother back. All the best.